The music industry is broken, but it's still making billions. That's the paradox. On the surface, everything looks bigger than ever. More songs, more artists, more platforms, more streams. Music is everywhere. But behind the scenes, something isn't working. Let's start with the numbers. Today, platforms like Spotify dominate how people listen to music. Streaming has replaced physical sales. It has replaced downloads. It has become the standard. And at first, it looked like a revolution. Unlimited music, instant access, global reach. But there's a hidden problem. Artists are getting paid almost nothing. On average, a stream generates only a fraction of a cent. That means millions of streams are needed just to make a modest income. Think about that. Millions. Now ask yourself, how many artists actually reach those numbers? Very few. And the rest? They struggle. Even talented artists, with great music, with loyal audiences, still struggle to turn streams into income. So where does the money go? Into the system, into the platforms, into the infrastructure, into the ecosystem that controls distribution. And that brings us to the second problem, visibility. Because in today's music industry, being good is not enough. Being heard is everything. And being heard, is controlled. Algorithms decide what gets recommended. Playlists decide what gets played. Data decides what gets pushed. If you're not inside that system, you're invisible. It doesn't matter how good your music is. It doesn't matter how unique your sound is. If the algorithm doesn't pick you, you don't exist. And that creates a massive imbalance. A small percentage of artists get most of the attention, most of the streams, most of the revenue, while the majority fight for scraps. Now let's go even deeper. Because there's a third factor changing everything, artificial intelligence. AI is no longer experimental, it's already here. AI can generate melodies, write lyrics, produce full tracks, and it can do it fast, faster than any human. So what happens when the market is already saturated and suddenly thousands of AI-generated songs are added every day? Supply explodes, competition increases, and value drops even further. Because when content becomes infinite, attention becomes the only currency that matters. And attention is limited. So now we have a system where there is more music than ever, but less attention per artist. More creators, but fewer opportunities. More innovation, but less control. And this leads to something critical, a shift in what it means to be an artist. In the past, artists focused on music. Today, they must focus on everything. Content creation, social media, branding, marketing, because music alone is no longer enough. You need visibility, you need presence, you need to constantly engage your audience. And that changes the entire game. Artists are no longer just musicians. They are creators, entrepreneurs, influencers. And if they don't adapt, they disappear. Now, here's the key question. Is this really a collapse or just a transformation? Because there are two ways to look at this. On one side, the barriers to entry are gone. Anyone can upload music. Anyone can reach a global audience. You don't need a label. You don't need permission. That's powerful. But on the other side, the system is more competitive than ever, more crowded, more complex, more difficult to navigate. So while access has increased, sustainability has decreased. It's easier to start, but harder to survive. And that's where the real issue lies, not in creating music, but in building a career. So what does the future look like? Will artists regain control? Will new models emerge? Will fans play a bigger role? Or will the system become even more centralized, more automated, more driven by algorithms? The truth is, we are in the middle of a transition, a moment where old structures are breaking and new ones are still forming. And in moments like this, there are always opportunities, but only for those who understand the game. Because the music industry isn't dying, it's evolving, but not equally for everyone. So the next time you listen to a song, think about this. Behind that track, there's not just creativity, there's a system that decides who gets heard, who gets paid, and who gets left behind. And once you see it, you start listening differently. Follow for more music industry insights.